I say thank you very much, Mr. Lancelot. That was a good one. I really enjoyed it. One thing, you said quite a lot of things, which are very good. And yeah, there is this case, genuine case, that we are not investing as much as in other countries into our film industry, which rightfully reflects our culture. But usually investors, when they want to invest in something, they need to see something that has already been created. So my question to you is, the money is made so far by Nollywood or the Nigerian film industry. Did it not occur to them to use some of it to at least create a little village, a little film village, or a little something that, yeah, when you bring investors to a tour and show them such things, that could actually bring to mind, okay, maybe we could invest into this and make it bigger. So eventually end up having a bigger film village. Because Nollywood, as we see, I don't think Nollywood was actually created by the United States government. No, Hollywood. I think it's the film industry that gradually started building up something before the investors came in. So what do you have to say to that?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The private individuals that has used their blood and sweat, borrow money from their villages, go to sell their father's properties to invest in the entertainment industry, especially the movies at the square. When they succeed, the first thing they try to do is to get equipment. Like me, I have a truckload of equipment as the one that we can carry. There's no any serious investor wouldn't need so much of convincing anymore, because the pictures are there, the figures are there, that a particular film in Nigeria, Omogeto, sold over 750 million in the cinema last year during the heat of the pandemic. So the question is that if it was not during the pandemic, maybe that film would have ended up at about 3 billion, a Nigerian film made here. So the owner of the film, okay, try to get the money. The distributor, people are invested in cinemas, though not enough. Those are areas. There are still a whole lot of states in Nigeria that does not have a functioning cinema. But by the Nigerian film policy of 1992, every local government in Nigeria is supposed to have at least a viewing center. The 747 local governments in Nigeria, each of them, by the Nigerian film policy, each of them is supposed to have at least a screening center for the movies, not to not talk of big cinemas. But you can now pick where the places where you have cinemas today in Nigeria. Some persons saw that deficit and invested the little that he could. Ben Moribruce started it again in Nigeria, and some others started following. And that today is Ben Moribruce is an entertainer. He has always been in the entertainment business, from television to the beauty pageant and what have you. So it was the area he knew. He built in Abuja, he built in Lagos. Some other person saw it and they came into it. So as for the film villages, like what is happening in Lagos right now, what we could afford is we rent a whole building and begin to change it into whatever kind of set we want it to be. But that is not the kind of, that on its own is not what we are looking at. Like what we have in Hollywood, where you have an entire estate that is soundproof, you have sound studios. So in answering your question directly, there are already pockets of such minute investment in those areas, the much that our pocket now can carry. We are looking at what is okay, last year, see, we can want to partner with you. Let us do a holistic study of this business, the way it is right now. What are the things on ground? What are the things that are needed? So that is already there. So there are things to show you. There are figures to point at. There are some institutions to also say, like I run a film school. When I came in, there was no film school. I had to set up one in Benin in conjunction with Benin University. That's a step that we took to say, okay, there's deficit in training. This young man cannot be coming in. Okay, welcome. You can pass through here, get a 3-month hands-on training before you come into the industry. So, in our own little way, we have done the much we can. The kind of investment that the industry needs now is the kind of investment that Netflix is bringing. But they can't go around everybody. They saw a film, a King of Boys, and they brought like $5 million to them to go and produce more of this. Those kind of value we are looking at. So we are here, like I've been telling a lot of us that we are here now. These guys are coming. The next thing, they will begin to detect the kind of story that we are going to tell. Because they got the money. And you wouldn't blame the filmmakers who needs money to live a good life. They said, no, the same story, the same stereotype we have been suffering in their hands. They'll begin to control the narrative here because they are bringing the money. Because our people have not been challenged enough to come in and say, okay, so many reasons to get involved in the entertainment industry.
All right, thank you very much. That's very interesting. I have a question, but before I ask you my question, I'm going to call on Honorable Pascal Ugbome. Please unmute and ask Lancelot Imasuen your question, please. Honorable Pascal.
Look like we lost him.
Okay. The question I'm going to ask.
I actually indicated I need.
Sorry, sir. Dr. Igiamuso, welcome, sir. Please
okay,
ask.
You,
go on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Lancelot. That's a very great presentation. In fact, I think before I ask my question, is also acknowledge what everybody knows, what he has, the great contribution he has made, to this sector. It's our own pride as a people. I think the focus or the center of your presentation, as already noted, is around the whole issue of investment. For me, it's like more or less, it's just more like a pitch, for investment. And you explain those areas that are quite visible, attractive. That was the first question I wanted to ask, because investors are actually looking for returns.
Yeah.
So wherever they smell returns, you don't really need to push them, to go there. The question, therefore, will be one. Now you have said that the sector is quite attractive. You talked about billions and all that. What, therefore, do you think is the missing link? Why is it that, in spite of the attractiveness of this sector, you still feel strongly that the investors are not coming in? That's for me is one question. But let me just quickly also add, beyond the issue of lack of investment in the sector, what do you consider as some of the other constraints, other things that might be working against the industry? Because at the beginning, you made it clear that much has been achieved, but you also answer your own question. Are we where we should be? And I think your answer at that point was that we've not got to where we should be. What do you think are the factors militating against that beyond lack of investment?
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you very much. I'll take the first one, the missing link. I think government is the missing link. Government. When you find a government that has interest in holistically developing every sector, then experts will begin to be called to pay particular attention. Sir, you will recall when a particular US president was visiting Nigeria, not Obama, the president before Obama, Clinton, yeah, an American president visited Nigeria, and on his entourage, Wesley Snipes was in there. I was surprised. That is the kind of premium that government has placed on the sector, that the president of America cannot travel to anywhere without looking at those core areas that projects their people and what they are known for. As relevant as the Nigerian entertainment industry has been, we have produced Grammy Award musicians. We have produced, I was a guest on CNN as far back as 2009 by my merit. But even from where we come from, Edo State, for instance, there is no government that has taken cognizance of the relevance of the industry. And that is what is actually affecting investors coming. So I want to posit here that the missing link between investors taking the business seriously. So I always joke with this. Bende Art Council is the state troop. And the only thing they are called for when the government is having function, they just call them to come and perform. After about 3 minutes, the MC takes the microphone and say, Bende Art Council, thank you, we'll call you again. That is the value that the government has placed on entertainment. And we are saying, no, it's no longer art for art's sake, it's now art for existence. That's what I mean. So when we get government that creates a relevance on the sector, then I'm sure that investors, government can also stand as guarantor in getting some of these things done. Like I said, the government of Cross River State during the time of Donald Duke placed high premium on culture and tourism and entertainment and invested heavily into that. And we saw what that gave to that place as at that time. The Calabar Carnival became a global convergence of people. People start booking their flight, they want to come in there, and it was sustained. But immediately left, I'm not sure such can be said again. So the missing links is government.